Good morning. Good morning and welcome to our webinar today. We're in for a good conversation that we're going to have in the next 1.5 hours. And just as we wait for more people to come in, thank you so much for coming in early. Thank you so much for honoring our invites to come to our webinar. Let me know in the chat. So there's a chat button at the bottom of your screen. Let me know where you're listening to us from, where you're watching us from, where you're joining this conversation from. Let's just get to know each other before we begin the conversation. This is also the time for you to remind your friend, your family, your neighbor, your colleague who really wanted to be part of this conversation but isn't here yet to join. You can share with them the link that you used to join or the link that was shared with you. Let me know in the chat where you're watching us from. I know we have people from all over the globe. So I just want to know where you're watching us from, where you're listening to us from, where you're joining this very great conversation about building and sustaining women-led business partnerships. I'm seeing we have a few people joined in. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, G. Thank you, Eve. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Andaje. Welcome, Karibuni Sana, to this conversation. Thank you. Let us know where you're at, where you're listening to us from. And also, remind your people, they have 3 minutes and then we start. Victor Damaris is listening from Nairobi, Kenya. Karibu Sana Damaris. Victor, let us know where you're joining us from. We actually have men in the room. Thank you for joining this conversation. You're welcome. You're most welcome. Feel at home. Eve from Nairobi as well. Karibu Sana. Thank you for joining in early. Rose, thank you so much for joining us. Catherine from Nairobi, thank you so much. Grace, all the way from Zimbabwe. Thank you so much, Grace, for joining us. I hope you're going to find this conversation very insightful, very candid, and very beneficial to you. We also have Judy from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you, Judy, for joining us. Okay, so I think we can start. My name is Emily Odor. I am the marketing officer at Sandbox International. And we are all here courtesy of Sandbox International. Sandbox is a entrepreneurship support organization. And what we do is that we help entrepreneurs grow and thrive their businesses to make them more profitable and more impactful. We do this in 3 ways. We do this through business opportunities. So we offer entrepreneurs avenues and areas they can access businesses, because if you're an entrepreneur, you really just want to grow your business through getting clients or getting customers to your business. So we do this through events and other avenues, communities that we build to grow people's businesses. We also support entrepreneurs through business education. So we have very many training opportunities at Sandbox. We have very many webinars like the ones that we have today. We have very many in-person workshops where we train entrepreneurs and business owners on how to do business better and how to grow their businesses. And the third, which is probably why most of you know us, we support entrepreneurs through business expertise. So at Sandbox, we have a community of over 33 different entrepreneurs who provide professional services, from legal to HR, to finance, to PR, anything you might think of to make your business better and smoother and easier, we probably have it here at the Sandbox. And the beauty of this is that these people are also entrepreneurs. So they know what you're going through as an entrepreneur, and they know how to move you from where you're at to the next level. Sandbox is located at CMS Africa House, Chania Avenue, Kilimani, and it's always open to visitors. So you can visit us anytime, any day from Monday to Friday, and we'll be ready to take you around, tell you more about what Sandbox does and how you can benefit from the Sandbox. Yeah, I'm just still seeing chats coming in. Thank you, Ruth, for joining us. And Marcy as well. Thank you for joining us. So today, we have a very interesting topic that we're discussing this morning. It is Women's Month, as we all know. And so, of course, the topic of our webinar this March had to be related to women. And so we're talking about how to build and sustain women-led business partnerships. And with me, I'm joined by very amazing women who have collaborated and partnered with other women to grow their businesses and even the other women's businesses, women who have grown their businesses from scratch and are thriving in their business. And they're here to share with us their stories and also any skills and anything that they have learned throughout the years of being in business. First off is Teresa Njoroge. Teresa is a social justice advocate, entrepreneur, and a change maker dedicated to empowering incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women in Kenya and Africa. After being falsely accused and imprisoned with her 3-month-old daughter, Teresa founded ClearStart, a women-led social justice enterprise that supports reintegration through mentorship, economic opportunities, and advocacy. She also convenes the Beyond the Bars conference, bringing together key stakeholders to champion the decriminalization of poverty. Teresa is also globally recognized by TEDx as a speaker in 2017. She's also a recipient of the African Female Leader 2018 Excellence Award. So Teresa is very knowledgeable in the field of collaboration, and she has collaborated very many times with women and also with men to grow businesses. Karibu sana, Teresa. Maybe we can see you as you start the conversation. Welcome, Teresa. You can say hi. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much for having our Sandbox. Truly looking forward to this beautiful building and sustaining women-led business partnerships. What a topic. What a time to gather together as we celebrate International Women's Month. Indeed, to accelerate action. Thank you and looking forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Teresa. Our second panelist is Angela Kioi. Angela is a corporate law advocate with over 14 years experience. Her practice has been dedicated to providing legal services to businesses and in particular, SMEs. Over the last 4 years, she has worked almost exclusively with businesses, providing critical legal support and advice to over 350 businesses. Angela is the managing partner of Kioi Advocates, an innovative corporate and alternative dispute resolution law firm that understands businesses continuously need a legal partner who will work with them from start through to maturity. Angela is always also the legal expert here at the Sandbox. Remember the experts I told you about? Angela is the legal expert at the Sandbox. Angela, say hi to our attendees today.
Yes, I hope you can hear me. Yes, thank you everybody for joining us today. I think this is an amazing topic. I can't wait for us to delve into it and for all of us to learn from each other. Welcome, and it's great. Let us see how we make women businesses and women partnerships even stronger. Thank you, Emily.
All right, karibu sana, Angela. Our third panelist is Marcy Chelashaw. Marcy is a passionate entrepreneur and a managing director of 61 Communications Limited. With over a decade of experience in business development, strategic partnerships, and marketing, she has built a thriving company by fostering collaboration and meaningful connections. She's a firm believer in the power of women supporting women not as competitors, but as partners in success. Through her work, she has helped women entrepreneurs secure deals, build trust, and tap into the right networks to create sustainable business partnerships. Now we see why Marcy was a good panelist to be here in this conversation today. Say hello, Marcy.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm looking forward to share my experiences and also learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcy. Now, before we begin the conversation officially, as we all know, data never lies. So we're going to look at some statistics that show us why women partnerships are important in businesses here in Africa and even abroad. So I'll ask my colleague Wendy to share her screen. There you go. Okay. So according to IFC, 24% of businesses in Africa are started or run by women, making the continent the highest proportion of female entrepreneurs globally. So as Africans or in Africa, we have the highest proportion of female-led businesses in the world. And then another statistic states that 58% of Africa's self-employed population consists of women, demonstrating their significant role in economic growth. So this 58% includes the 24%, but also women who run informal businesses that are not registered, women who are freelancers. So we're seeing that there are so many women who are doing their own thing and changing the game in the entrepreneurship space in Africa. And then lastly, 80% of women entrepreneurs who engage in mentorship and peer networks report higher business growth and stability. So we're seeing there's need for women to partner and there's need for women to work together and collaborate in business in order to grow their businesses. So just as we're in that conversation, we're well aware that women are in business, right? Women are in business and women have been doing business since time immemorial, and we have partnered in different ways. If we're even talking about informal groups like chamas, they started with women, right? So as we look at that, let's just, and this is a question to you, Angela, we'll start with you. What do you think makes women partnerships, especially in business, uniquely powerful? What is that one thing or two or three that makes partnerships between women uniquely powerful?
Thank you, Emily. I think I've had the benefit of working with different groups of women, either on a personal basis or professional basis. And one of the things that I'd say stands out for me is just the dedication and hard work that goes into getting something to be successful. So when you're partnering together. So my experience, and I'll speak, entirely from my experience, is that a lot of times when women are in the room, they are all looking to do their absolute best. It's something that I find very unique. Everybody is willing to pick up and share part of that load, be able to bring in their unique skill sets, being able to bring in their own unique perspectives and build towards something excellent. So from like my maybe two things that I can just pick up on. The first is with the Women of Sandbox, which is this great organization. I know we'll talk about them a bit later on, that has come together and, put together, this is the 5th year running an amazing event every single year on Women's Day. And what is unique about this is these are all women who are running their own businesses. And even as they run their own businesses, they're able to take time out and be able to plug into doing something that is better, usually almost unthanked. You're doing it because you know that this is something that is important for the community around us and something that is important for women in businesses. So that is just something, that's like one of the things that it's been such an enriching experience because everybody comes with their different level of expertise. They come with their own unique perspectives. They're all willing to roll up their sleeves, put in the hard work, make sure that the event happens. And they do it from a place of understanding that this is even bigger than them, bigger than the organization. And it's truly, truly amazing. I think the other experience that maybe I can point to is working. So our law firm, I think, is a bit unique. It has majority women employees, a bit maybe design, and also by this is, you know, by just how it has happened. But my experience working with my team and partnering with different people and other women-owned businesses is simply that there is an ability to all of us to come together and do something for the greater good. And there's an ability to push ourselves and bring in our different expertise, bring in our different perspectives, and, you know, build something that is excellent. So I think when I think about what is unique, that is what I'd say is unique. That at the end of the day, I don't think I've ever had an experience where, you know, women who are partnering in any sense of the way are unwilling to do something, or unable to, or, you know, are not willing to put in their hard work and their dedication towards it. So that is, I think, something amazing and something that has benefited even me as a business person and me as an individual in things that I do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. That was very profound. I think we can all agree that when women come together, great things happen. And the dedication and the hard work to just put all your head in one thing and steer the needle forward. And I love that you've spoken about the women of Sandbox, because it's a community of women who've just come together and decided to grow something very big that happens every year on International Women's Day. And I'll talk to you about that later. So as we're just in the same breath, yeah, we're talking about women and so many things that they can do. What do you think is the quality you need to look for in a partner? Because we're talking about partnerships and how women can come together and partner and collaborate in business. And this I'll throw it to you, Mercy. What do you look for? What have you looked for before? And what are you looking for now in a business partner?
Okay, yeah. Yes, well, when you're running a business, one of the obvious things we all look for, of course, is like shared vision for what it is you're trying to achieve. Are you sold on to what we are doing? And are you willing to apply yourself to it? That's obvious. And of course, there's trust that I can't overemphasize that. Those are obvious things we look for. But for me, I mean, digging deeper and thinking about the things that have really worked, I look for people who can actually challenge my own perspective in what I'm doing, because there's a risk of thinking you're the best at it because you started the business, you have the vision and things like that. So how do you identify these kind of people? People who will give you constructive criticism and really be the weakness you are. You know, they come in with the strengths you don't possess. Number one would be experts. You know, like they of course they're deeper and more understanding. It's an area like finance. I mean, I've come to give a service, but I'm not strong at that. Probably even just, you know, like the company has grown to a certain level and you need strategy. And so those are the kind of partnerships you want. And then without committing too much, there are areas you can pick them. I'll use a classic example. For example, when I felt my business was growing a bit too much, I came to Wild then. I got a business expert using a Scalerizer program, and we've been able to walk a journey that I can see clearly what it is, what value they have added into my business. So that way you're working with someone who sees your vision, who sees those kind of attributes. Those have been my biggest, and they've steered growth in partnerships for me the most in my business. So I would really emphasize knowing yourself, know your strengths, and know the strengths that you require for you to grow and be able to partner in those areas. Of course, now with people who have those now shared vision, trust. I mean, they really want to see your business move to the next level, and they can correct you. They can correct you genuinely, not just telling you things that are good to hear, but things that are critical to your business that you need to actually push through. And sometimes as women, you know, because those can feel like you're inadequate and things like that. When you have an expert, you can really, and a partner who's in that space with you, you're able to really unlock so much potential in your business. And I've experienced it myself in 6-1. yeah, I think that's what I can say about what has helped me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love how you've broken it down. So get someone who you share a vision with, and then someone who there's trust between the two of you, and then someone who comes in with the weaknesses that you have. So you really need to know yourself and know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and bring in someone who complements you and complements your weaknesses. Thank you. And I love that you've brought up the point about trust, because trust is very important in any business partnership and in any business collaboration that anyone decides to do, whether it's with women or with even organizations. So just as we were talking about trust, what, and this is to you, Teresa, now, what are the practical ways to build and to sustain trust in female-led businesses? So when thinking about a business, what are some of the ways to build that trust and to sustain it?
Indeed, truly love the insights that are coming up, and trust is so critical. And, even before we look at the business, your business is nothing but a reflection of who you are. So as you're leaning in to get into partnership and to do this business, and business is all about people, whether it's the team that works with you, whether it's your clientele, product, service that you offer, it's all about people. Are you a trustworthy person? Do you keep your word? Are you a person of integrity? So even before we look at how, you're maintaining this trust with others, first and foremost, it stems with you, a person of integrity, a person who keeps their word, a person of excellence. If you say that you're going to deliver something, do you deliver as agreed? And that's the foundation and fundamental place where you begin when you're building trust in partnerships. And for us, for example, the area that I work with, you're already working in a very murky space where identities have already been, put into doubt and question, because we work with women who are coming out of incarceration. So there's already doubt. There's already question marks, are you people who are going to deliver? So how do you build trust to see to it that funders give you the money? Because 100% in a not-for-profit, the money that you get to run the organization is 100% entrusted to you as a grant. And these funders, partners, trust and believe that the money that they're giving you, you will indeed deliver what you said that you would deliver. So you're looking at, number one, you need to be trustworthy and build a trustworthy partnership and relationship with the clientele, the people you're telling, I'm standing in the gap to represent you. And then on the other hand, you are building that partnership with the funders. And how do you do that so that they can continue trusting and giving you this money year in, year out, decades to come? You need to build processes, you need to build structures, you need to build teams, and you need to solidify your organization. Audits, that show transparency. And this is a second and very key fundamental area, transparency. Having honest, transparent conversations with your team, with your constituents or clientele, with your funders. And when we talk about transparent conversations, it's not just the opportunities. What are the challenges? Where are things not going the way you had agreed, things would go? Just like in life, you could set out one particular way, and then along the way, things happen. And we've seen that over the last couple of years, a lot of global things happening. So it's being very transparent about what's happening when it comes to opportunities and challenges. And I cannot overemphasize on reporting, whether it's on a quarterly basis. Call your people on a Zoom call. That's the beauty of having this kind of opportunities where you can just get onto a virtual call, get your funders, get your clients, get your people, and update them, maybe on a quarterly basis, biannually, or across the year, and let them know what's happening. And social media is also a very beautiful way to let people know of your progress, of what's happening, and be vulnerable. These things really help build transparent partnerships and relationships. And in conclusion, what I would say is accountability is so key when it comes to building trust. And I would advise, have your own personal board of directors, women or men or people who you look up to, people who hold you as the lead of your business. They hold you accountable, people who you answer to. Because if you're not accountable to anyone, growth, there's no way you're going to grow. People who coach you, mentor you, who you answer to, just in the area of growth. And then, of course, the board of governance of your business, who hold you accountable to what's happening within the organization. So those are some of the things that help build trust in partnerships in business. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. And one of the key things that have come up for me is transparency. And it just got me thinking, how transparent is transparent? If I've met you, Teresa, today, and I've decided I want to do business with you, and I want us to collaborate and partner with your business, how much transparency is? Are you going to immediately show me your books? Are you going to show me your how you do business? And when is the right place? When is the right time to reveal all these things?
It's a two-way, and I think you keep building this relationship as you go along, because on the other hand, trust is earned. Apologies, I am visiting some of our women who are in chicken business, so you can already tell where I am. So it's two-way. And as you go along, and especially because the question around if you've got a co-founder, or maybe it's a funder, or maybe it's your clientele, there's different information for different categories. And as we go along, as these people earn your trust. So if it's a funder, for example, they definitely want to see your books on day one, because that's what gives them the trust to give you their money. If it's your clientele, then there's the level of trust of service. So for them, there's the level of information that you will give them, and that's around the impact, the strategy that you have over a couple of years, and you can continue chatting on this together by involving them. The same thing goes for your team. Different levels, different information. So you also, and your board of directors, your governance, your mentors, your coaches can help you, as you run your business on what pieces you're sharing where. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Remember, you can always ask your questions as the session is ongoing. There's a chat box at the bottom of your screen. Just text us as we go. And I'll read one question that just came up as we were talking. Ruth asks, are we addressing partnerships in terms of legal entities or other form of short-term collaboration? Angela?
Okay. Thank you, Ruth, for your question. I think that at the core of it, when we talk about partnerships, there are a lot of things which are true. Maybe the level of partnership is what is going to change, but the underlying things that the other ladies have talked about will be existing in every different type of partnership, whether you're talking about, co-founders or co-business owners, or you're coming to talk about on this other side, entering into this other type of partnerships where let's say the way Mercy talked about, bringing on experts into her organization. I think the foundational level of it is still the same. We'll still be looking at how do we trust each other? How do I get the most out of this partnership? So everything that Teresa and Mercy have talked about, I would find that it would be true. Maybe the level of it is what would be the difference. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. And as we're talking about partnerships and we're talking about developing and cultivating relationships that lead to collaborations and partnerships, we know that in any partnership, there has to be a clear distribution of roles, right? If you're going to bring someone to your business and you want to start partnering with them, or if you're planning to merge your businesses into one, you need to know who's doing what. So what's a clear way to distribute roles in a partnership so that we prevent someone from feeling overburdened, or like one person is carrying another in this situation? Angela, I'll ask you to answer this one from one business owner's point of view, but also a lawyer's point of view.
All right. I think one of the first things we'd look at is, as Teresia talked about, trust. So what are the different ways you can build that trust within any partnership conversation? Because for you to have a successful partnership, you need to have openness, you need to have communication. And even if I would just look at it from the perspective of business partners, you cannot have a successful business partnership relationship without that openness and without that communication. That is something that's going to be key every single step of the way. So how do you quickly build that trust amongst each other? I think it just depends on where you know each other, what your background is. People use, in commercial terms, we'll use different tools like non-disclosure agreements and such like tools, just to ensure that even as I share with you my information, as I give you, as I open my books, or as I share with you my idea, that I am ensuring that I am protected in terms of would you be able to take this idea or this information that I'm sharing with you and use it for yourself. But now beyond that, what I'd also look at is how do you structure that agreement, that conversation? My experience with partnerships is that when partnerships are starting, people are very, very excited. So everybody is happy. This is excellent. We can see the future. We can see the money. We can see the opportunities. And it's usually a very difficult time to get partners to come sit down and talk about the mundane, to come and talk about, so, okay, the big vision is excellent. We can see it. It's amazing. But let's sit down and talk about what does it actually mean to execute this vision. So having that sense of clarity from the very beginning of what does it actually mean to execute this particular vision, then it helps you be able to very quickly say, listen, this is where my expertise is, and this is where my strengths are, and this is what I am going to take up and handle. So without that clarity, you could run on the energy and the excitement for a period of time. But then, as we all know, anyone who's doing business, there is a point where the excitement and the energy, will come to an end. And now we're here doing the hard work of making this enterprise work. Yeah, and that's usually where the problems come in, when it's no longer, when the problems start cropping up. So when it comes to distribution of role, understanding your vision is key. Understanding what it takes to get that vision done and to get it achieved is key. And then now breaking down who is going to do what to ensure that that vision is going to be executed properly. But even once you've agreed on who is going to take what role, the next thing I would also put in for me is to make sure that how do we hold each other accountable in the execution of this vision. So if I say I'm going to provide operational, I'm going to do the operations of the company, we agree what does that mean, but how do you hold me accountable to make sure that I've actually done what it is that I've said to do, such that you do not have one person doing majority of the work, another person doing not so much, or even in the role that they have been given, not being able to execute. So having that clarity and being able to say, so after we've agreed on who is doing what, how do we make sure we are holding each other accountable for each of those roles? And so that leads me sort of to my last point, which would be to document. So you've gone through this whole process, you have made sure you have the same vision. You've discussed and agreed on what it takes to get this vision achieved. You have divided your roles and you've talked about how you're going to hold each other accountable. The next thing I would say is that you need to document and you need to monitor, because without documenting it, how do we prove what it is we agreed on? So it's very important to sit down and have co-founder agreements, shareholder agreements, partnership agreements, like just a document that captures the spirit of what it is you have stated. This is exactly how we're going to operate. This is what your role is. This is what my role is. This is how we're monitoring our roles. And we put it down into a document which each party is signing to. Usually you'll find in those documents, we'll have, like, as lawyers, we'll put for you mechanisms to come in and say, if you do not do what it is you're supposed to do, what are the consequences for that? And that's also where monitoring comes in, because what's the purpose of having a well-written contract that you do not live by and that you do not abide by? So contracts are what we call, they're like living documents, something that is alive. It's something that is supposed to be utilized every day. It's not something that you sign and dust off the day when there's a problem. That's when you're looking for, where did I leave that contract, and dusting it off to now go and litigate on the contract. It's something that you should be abiding by and living by and keeping on going to check, how are we in alignment with this? How are we monitoring? So, I mean, Teresa had said excellently, do quarterly reports, sit down every quarter and ask yourself, where are we in this business? What have we achieved? Have we said in this quarter we're supposed to do 1 to 10? Have we achieved 1 to 10? And is there a reason why, if you haven't achieved it, is there a reason why we haven't achieved it? So that constant monitoring, constant reporting, constant checking is important. And then being able to trigger the clauses that say, if you do not, if you're not committed to the partnership, how do we then exit you? Because it's very, very tiring to carry a partnership or to carry a partner in an organization, especially when you're doing something for profit. But even in the non-profit space, I'm sure Teresa will tell us that it's very, very difficult to move forward with a partner that is not working. So you need to be able to also say, is this partnership still working for us? And if it is not, how do we disengage? And how do we disengage in a way that does not destroy the value that we have created? So those are just quick tips that when you're sitting down to think about and talk to any partner that you have, you need to sit down and agree on all those issues. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. I feel like I'm in a masterclass. By the way, you guys have gotten a free masterclass on how to create partnerships. And I like that it's cutting across both legal entities and even short-term collaborations. Because if you're going to collaborate with someone, you'll have to go through all the steps that Angie is telling us about, figuring out the goal and the vision, and if both of you align and what it takes to execute that vision, and then deciding who is doing what and just clearly stating those roles. And then also she's brought up how to keep each other accountable. You need to both be accountable for what you agreed on. And then lastly, to document that it's a live agreement, it's a binding document. So Angie is a lawyer, so she actually she gives off these services, and we will give you our contacts at the end of the webinar. So I love the conversation that is happening right now. I love how we're moving forward. Remember, you can still ask any questions in the chat. I'm seeing some coming in, but we will answer them towards the end. So just keep your questions coming. We promise we're seeing them, and we will continue to answer them as we move along. So now we're talking about partnerships, and we're talking about women. We're talking about how to partner with women. But one key thing that most people are asking here, and even as you are registering to come to the webinar, is where exactly do I find these women? Because we'll talk about how to partner and how to document and how to share rules. But where exactly are we getting these women to partner with? So I want an answer from all of you, but we'll start with Marcy to just give us I'm sure you've partnered with people before. Where did you meet them? Please tell us. Where did you meet them?
Interesting. Yeah, although with your permission, Emily, I want to just speak also on what Ruth said and just tying it to what Angela has said.
Yes.
And it's around partnering with legal entities. So when my business got to a point where I couldn't keep doing things myself, and of course now we're doing an agreement with people and doing work, it reached a point where now you're getting a big project. And I had to also seek assistance from a legal entity. And it's so interesting that what Angie spoke of is a process I went through, and it took me so long to find this person where they're like, what exactly are you doing? What is this person coming to do exactly? So that's shared vision in a sense. And remember, they're an external person. So what will you be expecting from them? How will you pay them and those things? So it got me to the granular point of this person. And I ended up realizing I only need them for 3 months. And so those are ways we partnered, and I'm so glad to meet you, Angie, here. And I'm now like, okay, I also need your contact. Anyway, I just needed to touch on that to probably guide Ruth, because it's from my own experience. So where do I get these people we partner with? So obviously there's the obvious formal networking groups that we see here and there. I mean, support systems, the places women kind of create, but maybe just to bring it more personal to myself so that it can resonate. I found that where I network with successful partnerships is where there was like a good level of vulnerability. Like people are just open about things they're not able to do. We don't like to be seen that way generally. Like the areas you're not really strong at, yet you're in this business. And I'll give you a classic example. At some point last year, I was feeling like I'm rusting in marketing, like I'm flavoring Aisha, let me just say it that way. So I went back to school and I got into this community where, of course, we're all studying and you're seeing these top marketers who know quite a lot more than you and things like that. And there was a project that I was failing at, and if it didn't work out, I'd have wrapped up business. And that's where such a powerful partnership came in. Their expertise came in and just built me to the next level. And so you need to show up where there are people like running businesses, for example, if you're a business person. And if you find those places, show up, keep showing up, because it's not in your first contact you will meet the right person. And it is not obviously in this one forum you'll meet people. And fortunately, we also have like something coming up this weekend, and I'd like to encourage women to come in, because that's where we'll meet each other. And someone will be able to point you to a potential solution provider for you and things like that. So it's really in those forums. There's nowhere else you'll find people who are like-minded like you, who want to like partner and build businesses with you. So yeah, so it's those kind of forums and whatever is probably spoken about here, or whenever you hear anyone around yourself going for such networkings where there's business, finance, and things that affect business, I think it would be important to slot it in as an important item to do. That's what I can say.
Thank you. So Teresa, before I go to you, maybe just to ask you, what's our equivalent of bars and golf courses? Because we've had so many times that men sign $1 million bills in the golf course, and in bars they meet and they sign the deals and that's it. What's the women equivalent to that? Where can we meet these women that we can partner with and collaborate with?
There are very many high-value networking events that happen across. And I think first, before you even get to how you will meet the women, you as an individual, what's your circle like? Because your circle is the one that will open those doors to those networks. So you've got to be very deliberate and very intentional with who and how you spend your time. Because each conversation that you're having is either leading you into those peer groups, or if not, opening a door for you to access these networks and these other bigger circles of other women who could support you. Then this could be your sponsors who are talking about you to people that you would never even meet. So again, back to you as an individual, the work that you're intentionally putting in around the circles that, you know, you spend your time at, also fellowships. You know, and when I talk about fellowships, it could be, you know, a course that you have taken, or a fellowship, a course specifically that you want to train and study in. Those also really help in opening networks that help you grow your business and build very strong partnerships. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Where are you spending your time? I think that's the one key thing that I'm getting from that. Where are you spending your time? Who's in your circle? Who's in your circle? Ask yourself those questions. They will help you know where you're meeting the women. And lastly, Angela, where have you met your partners and how has it been for you?
Okay, so I think when I think about partnerships, I look at it from a perspective of and someone told me this a long time ago, which is that businesses are built on relationships. So that's how, every single engagement, from your clients, from your partners, from your suppliers, a lot of times businesses are built and the foundation of it is around the relationships that you have. I like what Teresia says, looking at your circle. I'd also say that, you know, it's about also you selling yourself and selling what you do and selling your passion in every single thing that you do, or in every conversation. So this doesn't mean, you know, to be, you know, every single time say, hi, I'm Angela, I'm a lawyer. But it means that where you perceive that I can share what it is that I do, I can bring insight to maybe a problem that somebody's talking about, and I have some particular expertise that will help me speak to that particular problem. It's an opportunity. It's always an opportunity for you to be able to say, hey, actually, I think that, have you thought about doing this? Or, you know, I'm an advocate, so this is what I do. So that's just one of the things that I have done. Is I am proud. I wear it proudly on my chest. I say, if you give me an opportunity, I will tell you that I am an advocate, and I run my own firm. And from there, I build relationships based on such engagements. I think also we don't necessarily, as women, have what you'd say the bar or the golf course. Though of course that golf course does not mean that we do not, you know, you could also go and be part of the golf course. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. But I'd say that a lot of the times where I have found the most impactful relationships is in the communities that I have placed myself with strategically, or you know, looking for spaces where I see like-minded people and people who have the same vision as me. So similar to what Teresia is saying, it's about looking at where is it that I can see people who are like me. So let me speak from a personal experience. I think when I started out business, I was very, very, I was young, and I think when you're young, you don't realize, you know, what does networking mean? And I'd try to go to all these networking events, and they would never really, you know, you see, hey, networking event, let me go and say, you know, I'm a lawyer, let me go and try and meet people. And that never really clicked or worked for me, because I don't think it works for me as a person, like to just go into a networking event. But what I did was, and now this is speaking personally for me, when the opportunity came to join Sandbox and a community like Sandbox, I jumped onto it because I could see the value that it could give me as an individual and my organization to go out there and meet people who are like-minded. So I looked and found an organization that I felt was in line with my values, in line with my business's values, and even with the different people that I was meeting around me, that these are people who have the same struggles as me, who understand what my business is about, and who are also championing me when they go out. So putting yourself into those communities or into those areas where you can see people who have similar values, similar visions as you, it's really powerful, because then you are aligned. When you tell them, you know, if you hear someone who needs XYZ, please mention my name, they are happy to do it because you're already aligned on the values and the shared vision that you have. I also think that you need to move yourself out of your comfort zone. So do not stay where this is absolutely where I am comfortable in. You need to be able to look for opportunities and do things that necessarily are not within your comfort zone as a person, and find ways of building relationships even while you do those things. So it's like, for example, I know I'm an advocate, but I'm not necessarily, I was never a public, to stand up in front of a group of people to speak publicly would be really distressing for me. It was not something that would come naturally. But by looking for such opportunities, one, I got better at it, but secondly, it also helped me to speak and talk about what I do and show my brilliance and show the things that I am uniquely excellent at. And those opened conversation and opened doors for me to even do more and better. So get out of your comfort zone, look for those communities where you have alignment, and build those relationships. Those relationships are the basis of your business.
Thank you so much, Angela. So partnerships are formed from building relationships. So you have to build relationships with people for you to convert into a partnership. And then you also have to sell yourself, like Angela says, and just move out of your comfort zone and do what you didn't think you would do. You never know where that holds. And now, the power of accelerating action, because that is the theme for International Women's Day this month, we are acting on one, getting into avenues and areas, like Mercy says, where there are like-minded people like you, so that you can form possible partnerships and collaborations. So with that said, there's an event tomorrow, the 21st of March, at Nairobi Street Kitchen. It's an International Women's Day event by women of Sandbox. And it just brings together experts. Remember the experts I told you about at the beginning of the webinar? So female experts who run businesses in different professional services. So we have someone in customer experience, we have someone in HR, we have Angela will be there as our lawyer, we have someone in marketing, and so on and so forth. And they'll be sharing their experiences and expertise and giving you a chance to also network amongst business owners and get a chance for possible partnerships. So because you're in this webinar, they have allowed us a 500 shillings discount. So the ticket is 5,000 shillings, but because you're in this webinar, you will get it as 4,500 shillings. So my colleague Wendy will just share the link in the chat. Click on that link, register, and see you tomorrow at Nairobi Street Kitchen as we continue this conversation on building and sustaining women's partnerships, and as we act on it, right? We said that this year we are accelerating action. We're not just talking about things, we're also going out of our way and doing what we said we would do. So the link is in the chat. Just click on it, register, and we'd love to see you there. See that most of us are in Nairobi, so that's a good thing. It will be an honor to see you there. So now, as we go to the next stage, we're talking about partnerships, and we know a huge part of partnerships is negotiating. When you meet someone and you like what they're doing and you want to partner with them or collaborate with them in a project or in your business or in anything that you're doing, you have to have clear strategies and a clear route to think about how to negotiate, how to tell them what you're doing, and how to merge the two of so that there's mutual benefit. So what are the clear strategies that you have used? And this can go around or anyone can answer it. What are the clear strategies that you have used to secure deals in the past, or even the deals that you're working with right now? And as someone unmutes their mic, I think I'll give this to Teresa. Judy, you're asking what time does the event begin? It starts at 8:30 a.m. and ends at 4 p.m. It's a full day event full of activities and great experiences. We will also have wellness checks by our partners, AR. We will look at your business and where it's at, and our experts will also look at your business, give you insights on how to grow your business and do it better. So just click on the link, register, and see you tomorrow. Teresa, what are some strategies you've used to secure deals successfully?
Okay. So I love some of the strategies that have already been shared. For example, visibility. If people do not know the amazing services or products that you have, then no one's going to, either partner with you, buy from you, or come for your services. So visibility is so key. Invest in your comms. Consistency. Consistency is so critical. Communicating over and over again to your clientele, to your partners, to your team members. Communication is so key, but also consistency and being known for what you stand for. So when I talk about consistency, it's the communication, it's the excellence in what you do. So your funders or your customers or your clients or even your team, everyone knows what you will offer, the kind of quality it will be, and they know what's happening. They're journeying with you. And I must also say that where you or your business are is not an accident. It's actually a direct output of the decisions that you make. So focus, having vision of where it is that you want to go. Quarterly, monthly, biannually, annually. You've got to be so clearly focused on your vision so that even you can then be able to attract incredible partners to partner with you over a period of time, So vision, focus, very critical for success. And then maybe the other thing I would say is quality. We underestimate the quality of whatever it is that we offer. For instance, at Clean Start, we work to empower women, girls, and children who are incarcerated. The kind of program and services that we offer them is exactly what we would offer a Fortune 500 company. The quality is incredible standard, and we don't lower it, whether we are working with women in Kajiado, Lodwar, Isiolo, or in Nairobi. The quality is the same, so it can be replicated, whether across the country, whether on the African continent, or globally. Think that way in your business for the service that you offer. Whether you're offering it in Nairobi, whether you're offering it in Africa, whether you're offering it in New York, same standards, so that then people can vouch for you. Those are the quick, immediate ones: consistency, excellence, the quality, staying focused, the vision. Can people speak to your brand? Those are the quick ones that come off my mind. Yeah.
Thank you. And I love that too.
Emily, I wanted to add one part, if
Yes.
it's okay.
No, yes.
It's okay. So when we talk about negotiating, I think this is something that I see all the time, and a quick team I love what Teresa has said in terms of making sure that what you are presenting is the absolute best, but I'd also say that you need to prepare. So oftentimes we go into negotiations, we have not really sat down and thought, you've done everything, you've given the best possible presentation, but the heart of negotiations is two people trying to come to a common meeting ground. So you need to be extremely prepared even before you enter into the negotiation room. I think my experience is that a lot of times whether or not you will get what you want through a negotiation is based on how well you have prepared. So being able to do research, know what it is you're worth. What does the market say these services are worth, so that if someone is coming to undercut you, you're able to say, actually, no, this is what the market is, and I have evidence that this is what actually the market price is. So this is what we're going to stick to. So when it comes to that type of negotiation, you need to sit down and do your research, be uber prepared, think through every single aspect of what it is you're negotiating, and understand clearly for yourself what it is you want to get out of that negotiation. Be ready to walk away. Be ready to be able to say, actually, this isn't right for me. So, because not all deals are good deals. So be able to say, I know this is my bare minimum. If you're not meeting this bare minimum, I'm not going to be able to see through. I'm going to walk away from this deal. And being able to think and being able to articulate or know what can I give out, and what is it that I really absolutely must walk out of this room with. So and all of this is just based on that preparation that you do beforehand. So whenever you are going into, somebody says, can we come and discuss your price, or can we come and discuss? So I'm speaking from a perspective of, but I think this is true that you're a for-profit or non-profit. But if anyone comes and says, can we discuss this? It's a negotiation. Every single day, these are things that we're doing. But if you're not prepared to have that conversation and have it backed with information and with research that you have done, chances are that you might fall for a deal that is not beneficial to you. So make sure that you enter into that room 100% clear about what it is you want, what it is you are not willing to give up, and what it is you're willing to concede, so that you negotiate for that success, making sure that you actually get what it is you deserve as a business.
Thank you.
Emily, could I please piggyback on Angela's point and say that as Angela is presenting, I'm also thinking to myself, and if you get into the deal, whether it's a partnership with a funder, a customer, an employee, whatever kind of a partnership it is, keep evaluating it. So make sure that your exit strategy is also very, very clear, and don't be afraid to have the difficult conversations. And if it's not serving you a year down the line, 2 years down the line, 3 months, 5, whatever, if it's not serving you, have that difficult conversations and be ready to let go. Yeah. I think sometimes as women, you don't want to step on people's toes. What will they say? It's uncomfortable. Have those difficult conversations and let people go, because and people grow, organizations grow. How and where you started 4 or 5 years later, first and foremost, you won't be the same person who started. Why? Mm-hmm. The nature of business forces you to grow as the business grows, and needs have changed. So yeah, have those difficult conversations. It's best for business. So no hard feelings. Yeah.
Yes. And I think this is actually a good conversation to have, especially as women. And just like you said, Teresa, no, you don't want to step on anyone's toes. You don't want to come off as difficult. So you find yourself staying in a partnership that isn't working. So just be clear with what is working for you. And if it's not working, it's okay to let it go. And then the point also on preparation really stood out for me. Prepare before you go into a negotiating room, because not all the time you'll be the one looking for a partnership. Sometimes you will be approached to be someone's partner, and you have to make sure that you are getting the best end of the deal. So thank you so much. I repeat, it's a masterclass, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation this morning. So we have spoken about building relationships, right? Spoken about where to meet the women to build the relationships with, where to, how to approach them, what to look out for. Now let's talk about sustaining these relationships, sustaining these partnerships. How do we sustain existing partnerships that we have? And of course, we're talking about the ones that are working for mutual benefits. How do we make sure that they still work and for the long run? Because the key thing about a partnership is you want it to last. as long as it's still serving you. You want it to last, and you don't want it to end prematurely. So how do we sustain these partnerships? Mercy, I'll give this one to you.
Okay, so how do we sustain these partnerships?
Yeah.
First of all, we must remember that once you're entering into, even from the negotiation, you're starting, you're developing a relationship. So for a relationship to actually produce great fruit, you need to approach it with an attitude of nurturing it, because you're also still in a process of learning each other. What am I? You're so sure of your strengths, yet maybe more can be added to it. What can come into it? How will we work together? Remember, you're also putting these things into formal structures, like what Angela, like the flow of what a partnership looks like from what Angela explained to us. Number two, and very important for me, is accountability. If these partnerships have accountability, then they are definitely going to flourish, because just surface level partnerships don't take you anywhere. So you should be ready to be accountable, and for to be accountable yourself, and expect accountability back. Like that's what.
I think we lost Mercy there. So so we're talking about sustaining partnerships and how to sustain the existing partnerships that we have. So I'll ask Angela to just pick it up.
Okay. All right. So in terms of sustaining your partnerships, I think one of the things that I'd say from my personal experience is, and we've touched on it throughout, is being able to have a checkpoint, being able to come back and reassess and confirm that the partnership is still continuing and is still working for you. So in my experience, what I've found is we tend to ignore the issues that are happening in the partnership, those small little annoying things. And when you ignore them, they quickly become big issues. So another trick for sustaining partnerships is learning how to resolve disputes and resolving them in a timely manner and resolving them in a way that is beneficial for the relationship. So business relationships are not necessarily going to be very different from your personal relationships. So you cannot tiptoe around them and not raise issues that you have. Because if you do that, what happens is that very quickly people will become unhappy in the business partnership, and then look to either not work or not be able to, there are all these other effects of not dealing with that properly. So what I would say is sustainability comes from making sure that the relationship is continually working. All business, anywhere you go, where you have co-founders, where you have co-creators, where you have an expert or a type of expert business partnership relationship, what you'd find is that people will constantly go back to check, is this relationship working? Is it still serving us? Are our goals still aligned? Is our vision still aligned? Are we still able to move forward? And if there are things that are not quite aligned, how do we fix them? And how do we resolve any disputes? Because disputes will happen in partnerships. They will happen. It's not possible for human beings to be 100% on the same page every single time. So how do we handle those disputes, and how do we ensure that they do not come to destroy what it is we are creating? There's a certain level of emotional intelligence that is required there. So also being very introspective and being very looking at yourself as a person and understanding where your strengths and weaknesses are when it comes to such relationships and maintaining those relationships is also key. So being able to say, look, I know that this is how I react when I'm unhappy about something, and learning how to deal with that within a business relationship so that it doesn't come to antagonize or to destroy what it is you're creating simply because you have a particular reaction. So learning also how do I manage that? Beyond that is making sure that beyond the relationship aspect is making sure that you are getting something out of that business partnership as you move along. It's possible for you to be in a business partnership that has completely stopped serving your needs as an organization. And when you're in that position, I think you could be just comfortable. It's okay, it's not so bad, I'm just comfortable. But if you're not getting something out of that partnership, how do you make sure either that you're tweaking it to make sure that you are getting the value that you need to get out of the partnership, or how do you exit in a way that allows for the relationship to continue, so you're not exiting in a way that destroys that relationship? Because as I say, business is about relationships. So if you are exiting from a partnership, you're blowing things up, now I'm done, and it's a big fight and it's a blow up, your partner on the other side will never vouch for you and say, oh, this person is actually an excellent person to enter into a partnership with. But if you manage those relationships and even how you exit out of them, then your partner on the other side will be able to say, yeah, we had a partnership, it worked for this period of time, it stopped working for whatever reason, it stopped working. And I would vouch for them, they're excellent at what they're doing. So that type of emotional intelligence, being able to think through whether or not this partnership is giving me value or not giving me value, and then now moving beyond that and saying, how do we monitor and make sure that we are able to keep on carrying on to the next stage and the next stage. Yeah. I hope Mercy is back in. Can also give us her insights.
Hi, Mercy. When you're working with technology, you have to anticipate such things. We're happy to have you back.
Okay, so I'll start from where my thoughts, I think, stopped. And there's one thing I wanted to mention about negotiation. I'm sorry to take you back. I think confidence was one of the things you brought out. And one of the ways I'll encourage maybe anyone who's trying to get into partnerships is have like your evidence, your data evidence of what it is you want, of your value, actually, so that you're not doubting at what point to not get in or out, and it'll just give you the upper hand during the negotiation. So that's about negotiation. When we're talking about sustaining these relationships, I was speaking about being accountable and having an accountable partner. I think that's one area in the beginning you can be able to watch for, because the moment things just start, you're not accountable to each other, or at least able to figure out, which was what was talked about in terms of evaluating your relationship. That is always a bit of a red flag in terms of how probably your partnership, the direction it's going. So that's one area. Another one is patience. Obviously, like I said, a relationship is nurtured. Like when you see someone who's been in a relationship, a deep one for 10 years and one in 2, 3, 4, 5 days, even who have been excited for spending the 4 days together, it's definitely different because you've not gone through various phases of life together to establish how it is you're gonna act or be able to be strong enough to face it. So I think the patience part, where you are actually kind of your sister's keeper, looking at sister or brother's keeper, obviously, like looking at the other person, are we able to grow through this also? Because it's not about finding a perfect person. You're also not perfect. You get what I mean? So that's how I look at sustaining relationships. When something is working, are you able to nurture it, to grow it into the bigger fruits, and even some fruits you didn't even imagine, so that your garden is flourishing and your business is flourishing in that event. So that's where that's how I measure and ensure I sustain relationships that are already working, and I hope to work into the future.
Thank you so much. And just one last thing, and maybe I can just bring you back, Mercy. Can you speak just a little into mentorship? And I'd like to hear this from all of you as well. What role does mentorship play in building your relationship, building your business, sorry, and growing your business. So are you a mentor? Do you have a mentor? Have you had a mentor before? And what role does it play? How important is it?
Mentorship is very important, and I came to learn that a bit late in life. And you can see it in even how life is structured. We're all in different phases of life. So one will pull you up, you'll pull someone else up. And that is not an exception for businesses and any phases of life. So yes, I have several mentors, some who are virtual, some who are paid, physical, people who I just walk to and speak to because of the communities we share, for example, church and things like that. So I do have a lot of people who hold me up and challenge me to grow. The fact that I'm there, I see younger people who are going through struggles that I've gone through and are trying to achieve results similar to probably what we have already achieved or are trying to achieve as well. So whenever I come across such people or in spaces like that, yes, I encourage them or trying to inquire about them, and just to identify and mentee also who won't just waste time for you, or rather who is not suitable to you. For example, there are a number of things I would question them about, send them to do homework about, and there are those who will come back and we work together and build them up and just try to point in the right direction based off of what journey I have also walked. So both keep me alive to what has brought me this far, and the other pulls me up to try new areas where I can actually be able to get the most out of myself. So yes, mentors are super important, and they are, yes, should be a priority for every business person.
Thank you so much. Teresa, Angela, if you want to chime in that conversation, even as I look at the questions we have in the chats. Remember, you can still share any questions you may have in the chat, and we will answer them in a few minutes.
Okay. To the role of mentorship, as Marcy has stated, it's so crucial. And whether it's mentorship that you have approached to request to be supported with, and, you know, just thinking about my journey, the key breakthrough moments, moving from one level to the next of growth, I see how the mentors around me played such a crucial role to enable me strengthen my muscle of making the hard decisions that I needed to make to get to the next levels. So it helps in, continuous improvement. It helps in growth of yourself as a leader and of your business. And then mentorship is, it's not just what you're receiving, it's also what you're giving out to others who have not yet gotten to where you need to be. And there's also reverse mentorship, especially coming from the younger ones. Sometimes we don't have the brave boldness that some of the younger upcoming ones have. And they play such a reverse mentorship in enabling us to make some of those bold decisions because they've got such an appetite for risk. So it's also reverse mentoring by having the younger ones around you. And on that point, there's a quote that says, show me the people you surround yourself with and I'll tell you who you are. Again, to my point of being very, very intentional with who you surround yourself with. Surround yourself with women or men who are where you would love to be. Women or men who are, bolder than you, who have achieved what you would love to achieve, who hold you accountable, because accountability is so key. Keep checking who's in your circle. Time is so precious. So even by virtue of it's a coffee you're having or it's a chat you're having, it's rubbing on you, and mentorship is not necessarily sparing 2 hours a month to get into a session. It's that day to day makes all the difference, because where you will be at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter or by the end of the year, it's the little steps, those little consistent conversations that you're having and decisions that you're making. And it's the people around you. So choose wisely who you're spending time with. It really rubs on you. Or what you're watching. Even if your ways of spending some downtime is scrolling, what is this you're scrolling, looking at? You know, what books are you reading? Yeah, the mind is very powerful.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much. So I will read sample questions that are in the chat, but even as I read the questions, because you're almost at the tail end of this conversation, I'd request that my panelists just think about your parting shots, the last words, even as I read the questions. So the first question is from Ruth Mwangi, and she asks, are there sample shareable partnership agreements or documents that we can access? And her question is a two-part question. So her next question is, are there special complexities in partnership with women-led versus men-led entities? So this can be, I think the first question was Angie's, because you talked about agreements and documenting your partnership. And the second question can be taken by anyone else. I think, let me read all the questions. Please note them down so that we can answer all of them at the same time. So another question we have here is from Fleisha Nyamu, and she asks, what is the difference between men-to-men versus women-to-women business partnerships regarding how the partnerships are formed and creating a support system? So that's a very good question, Fleisha. We have a comment from Yasmin who says, I like the counter of you don't have to think and move like a man to be successful. You think and move like yourself. Thank you so much, Yasmin. That is very profound. And then we also have a comment from Catherine who says, loving the candor and the energy in this conversation, the personal and practical tips being shared here. Yes, she loves the personal and practical tips being shared. So Angela, you can take the first question. Her second part can be taken by Marcy, and then this Fleisha's question can be taken by Teresa when I wind up. So as you answer the question, you can also give us your final word, so that we keep to go.
Okay, Ruth, are there sample shareable partnership agreements? So the internet is an amazing place. I think you will be able to get most things, though as a lawyer, as an advocate, I would advise you, like, partnerships are not, they're very different, they're very dynamic. How you would come up with a partnership agreement and how another person comes up with a partnership agreement is completely different. And so it is important to, I'd say, seek legal advice and seek legal guidance, because this document is the document that is your reference point. It's the foundation of that agreement, of that partnership. It is worth it to, and I love what Mercy said, that, you know, she realized, you know, the importance of having advice, legal advice in some of these engagements. But I think it is worth it to sit down and talk to an advocate. I'm not telling myself, but what I would tell you is, even amongst your peers, people who you know, you will have someone around you who is an advocate. So sit down and have that conversation with them and help them craft you a document that is going to be unique to you and that is actually going to serve you. So I would say that. I think if I could just touch on, there are two questions which sort of sound similar, which is on, is there a difference with working with men versus working with women? If I give my perspective, I would say there's none. I think this is like a societal construct. It's something that is there, like, and coming from the perspective of the relationship is what matters, how you build that relationship, whether or not it's a male-led organization or a female-led organization. People are different, personalities are different, how people react is different. So it's not necessarily based on gender, but it's more based on the individual or the organization, or the leaders of those organizations. But that's my perspective from running business. My key points, my key takeaways, I had 4. The first was fail forwards. I think if you're running a business, you cannot be afraid of making mistakes or failing. It's something that has helped me tremendously. So each time something goes wrong, I say, okay, how do I make it better? Like, okay, now I've learned that lesson. So how do I go to the next point? How do I take this failure to accelerate me to the next point? So that's one thing that I'd say. So fail forward, take risks. Business in and of itself, entrepreneurship is a risk. So don't start entering into entrepreneurship and then now you become risk averse. It's calculated risks, but take risks. That's where the opportunities lie. I think the third was believe in yourself. We all have imposter syndrome. We all have that self-doubt, that nagging feeling that we are not as good, or we could be better. But be your biggest cheerleader. So even when you're not 100% about who you are, be the person who is shouting about, be your biggest cheerleader internally. And then the last one is build lasting relationships. I keep on saying that over and over again. It's something that has propelled my business to where it is. I would not be where I am if I had not taken time to build relationships with my clients, with my team, with my suppliers, with everybody who's around me. So build those lasting relationships. They're important for your business. Yeah. Those are my takeaways.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Angela. Fail forward, build relationships, be your biggest cheerleader. Yeah, those are some of the things that we need to do. Teresa?
I agree with Angela. There's no major difference between how a male-led business and how a female-led business is. It's honestly, I feel culture tries to dictate that there's a difference. But at the end of the day, the business is a reflection of its leader. So whether it's a man or a woman, based on the quality of decisions, the quality of the vision, the quality of partnerships, quality of services and products that the male or female is bringing to the table, is how that business will be. And that goes as well for the partnerships, how they're being maintained, consistent, transparent communication. Of course, to some extent, men are normally very risk averse. And on the other hand, women are more careful, more questioning, will get a lot more details. But at the end of the day, it's the quality of decisions that are being brought into the business, whether by male or the female. And I believe we're there to complement each other both ways. Whether if you're a male or female leader, you don't have all the strengths. So that will be made up by the team around you who will help in the partnerships that you will build. For my takeouts, your mind is your biggest bottleneck. And until you learn how to master your mind, you'll never master your business. So what goes in that mind is everything. The boldness, the quality of decisions you're bringing in, your ability to handle the ups and downs, and so on and so forth. And all that reflects with the kind of partnerships, with the kind of relationships that you're having, which is so key for the growth of your business or organization. And then consistency in what you offer, consistency in communication, consistency in visibility, consistency in your focus on your vision. Consistency is so key. What do you stand for and what's your brand? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Teresa. Your mind is your biggest bottleneck. So make sure what's in your mind is valuable to you. And lastly, Mercy.
Okay, I'll try to stick to the 1 minute before we finish. So there was the complexities, the special complexities. I think that's what you had asked me to take before I just give my my parting shot. So I think I just want to touch on things maybe that I think are important, especially for us who are venturing into business. And I know one of the areas for us women, we have a higher level of emotion that we demonstrate. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. However, it can paralyze us in many ways, like just having difficulties or hesitating at taking decisions. So those are some of the complexities you can find. And one of the ways this has helped is probably have structure, so that you're clear. You're not feeling like, oh my God, if I make that decision, I'll hurt somebody else or something. It's really separating the emotion and the business in some senses, and just knowing that this is what is right for the business, not right for how I feel. Then I also feel there's something we kind of avoid sometimes as women, because we are by nature naturals. I think we don't express our boundaries. Like, you can take on more than you really should, and it affects other aspects of your life, you know, because naturally, you know, at home you're a natural and things like that. So you kind of overburden yourself. So those are areas maybe you need to watch over yourself. And that also comes with self-awareness, knowing yourself better and things like that. And there's a third one, which I think I wouldn't want to ignore, because it's collaboration and competition. They're almost related, and the society has kind of positioned us women to compete against each other, whereas we don't need to. So maybe it's always reminding yourself that, you know, like walking into a room saying, "Hey, wanawake hawa," you know, those already said narratives in the market. Right now, you have power to actually manage your brain, like Teresa said. They're not true. They're not true. So it's walking in knowing I am here to build each other up. We are not competing. And I know this kind of comes with something like a girl code, you know, like, you know, don't talk to certain aspects of me or things like that. Just have that clarity in your own mind as the business person, so that you're not drawn into the negative conversation around women. So those are the complexities maybe you may want to look at. And maybe finally, around negotiation, we're not that assertive. It probably comes from our nurturing way, which is not a bad thing. It is not actually a bad thing. It's just the awareness of knowing that's who you are, so that you can know how to propel or manage yourself in those situations. Even walk away from a negotiation at the point you're feeling very vulnerable, to come and continue later. So maybe those are things you just want to watch with yourself as you're preparing and as you're reflecting on probably partnerships you've built for success in the future, and maybe building those female related kind of partnerships. So not to say one is superior to the other. So finally, maybe my parting shots, or maybe something I also wanted to just highlight, and it ties into this, that do realize that men are also partners in everything we do. For example, if the lawyer I ended up working with, which is a female partnership, I got it from a gentleman. Gentlemen have pointed me in the right direction, and to be able even to walk into rooms where you partner with other fellow women. So they are still partners in everything we do. So it's not to say that one supersedes the other, or one is not necessary over the other. And finally, for me, I'll go back to the garden concept. Please approach partnerships like you're nurturing a garden, not a hunter. Most people are chasing, like, can I find this person at an resort hapa, will partner? Those become superficial, fake, and they can't sustain your business. Approach it with patience, knowing very well you're going to tend to a garden that should produce fruit in a certain period of time. It's not walking, I know Emily will get me this, and I'm out. So that is what I can say for this kind of situations you want to get into. So thank you, that's from me.
Thank you so much. I will say this the third time. This was a masterclass, and I'm so glad we had this conversation. Remember, tomorrow we have the International Women's Day event by Women of Sandbox at Nairobi Street Kitchen. The link will be shared once again in the chat. Click on that link, register, let us see you tomorrow so that we have this conversation, so that you have an avenue to meet, interact with other like-minded business owners and form possible collaborations and build relationships to form possible partnerships. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for even staying on till now. I know we are 3 minutes late, but thank you. Thank you for staying on till now, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you to my panelists. Thank you for your insightful words. Thank you for being so candid and open with your stories and your experiences. See you tomorrow at the International Women's Day celebration. Please remember to click
Emily.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, just as a quick one, I just wanted to let people know why tomorrow is going to be so amazing. It's going to be amazing because you get to sit down with experts and talk about your business. So if you are running a women-owned business, if you are in a women-led organization and you need an expert, you need to talk to somebody about specific issues in your business, this is it. This is the opportunity. All these ladies, all these businesses have given their time and energy for the whole day. Tomorrow, they will be sitting down and ready to serve you and give you meaningful, impactful insights for your business. So I hope you come. I really, really hope you come. Yes.
Thank you. I'll give you 2 minutes to click on the link so that you register and so that we see you tomorrow. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you. I'm glad you found this webinar insightful. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Judy. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow at the International Women's Day event by Women of Sandbox. Thank you. See you.